Could once bitter foes, Iran and Iraq, now have a secret arms deal? Photos of Iraqi soldiers carrying Iranian weapons are surfacing on the internet. A deal like this would violate the United Nations sanctions and is a major concern for our nation. According to former CIA operative Wayne Simmons, any potential agreement between those two countries would threaten the entire region. And Wayne joins us now. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Good morning.
How much traction is there to this story that the two have a secret deal today?
I think there's a great deal of traction. If, in fact, all of the intel proves to be true, I would, without a doubt, assure you that this is one of the worst possible scenarios that could have taken place. It is the proverbial, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. In this case, we are supplying, as all of us are aware, we're supplying Iraq to fight various enemies of the United States and of Iraq. We're supplying them with $15 billion worth of military hardware, including Hellfire missiles, tank ammo, vehicles, M4s, M16s. And we've sacrificed so much treasure and blood to help win them a certain amount of freedom, only to find out, of course, that Iran has the same enemy now that Iraq does. And, oh, by the way, that enemy also is fighting against Assad. So essentially what we have, we need Karl Rove's grease board to keep track of this. We have Iran and Iraq supporting Assad because they're all fighting the same enemy.
There's also extremists out in the western part of Iraq, as I understand it, that are, against Iran, so they're fighting together to try to thwart that group.
Well, yeah, and that's been going on for some time. But what we have, Uma, the worst possible scenario that's taken place is that the elections in Iraq have happened. They will announce, hopefully, the winner of those elections, including Maliki and whoever else is involved, on the 25th of May. The problem is it doesn't look like there's going to be a clear winner. So we have, which many of us have thought was taking place for a long period of time, a country, Iraq, dropping into civil war, Iran making a very, very smart, very tactical and strategic move into Iraq by supplying them with weapons, which allows them to defeat the same enemy that is coming against Assad. Absolutely the worst possible scenario.
How do we know that some of our equipment isn't getting into the hands of Iranian soldiers there? And what can the U.S. really do to Iraq at this point to bring pressure on that country to stop it?
There's nothing that we can do to stop it. We know already that Hillary Clinton is responsible for $500 million worth of weapons into the hands of al-Qaeda. That's a fact. That just became known a couple of 3 weeks ago. So for anyone to think that the Department of State is going to step in and have anything to say about whether or not our weapons are also being transferred to Iran is a joke. We know also, and this is very important, that the only way that weapons transfer could have taken place from Iran to Iraq is that Maliki had to okay it, number one, and number two, it had to be either the defense minister, the Ministry of Defense, or the Ministry of Interior to okay that transfer. So that no one is afraid of Obama, no one is afraid of Department of State, no one cares about the United Nations. This is bad scenario for us.
It's really unbelievable. I want to shift gears for just a moment and talk to you about reports which allegedly show that the White House knew that Osama bin Laden had some type of tie or communication with Boko Haram, the Nigerian group that kidnapped those schoolgirls, and that this was information that the White House has had for a while. Can you elaborate on this?
Well, many of us have known or suspected that for some time. This is, when it starts dripping out today, most of us are really kind of, no kidding. And we don't mean to be flip about it, but we've known this for some time. So Osama bin Laden, the network, Al-Qaeda, has had these contacts all throughout Africa. Africa, as you now know, is overwhelmed and becoming more overwhelmed every day by Islamic jihad and by jihadis. So this is nothing new. We knew it. Yes.
But that still doesn't explain why then Mrs. Clinton would not have designated Boko Haram as a terrorist organization at a time when she was being urged to do so.
Yeah, and I think that the only one that can answer that is her. Any comment that I would make on that would be pure conjecture because, like you, it makes no sense. We do not understand. We know what they were doing. We know they were volatile. We know they were doing the same things then as they are today, slaughtering innocent men, women, and children, and yet Hillary Clinton refused to put them on the terrorist watch list. But it took us years to get the MEK off of the terrorist watch list they were put on by Bill Clinton. MEK, of course, is an ally and helping us. We couldn't get them off of the watch list, but they would not put true terrorists who are visually, we can see them. We have pictures of them slaughtering men, women, and children. We couldn't get them on that watch list. So the only one that can answer that is Hillary Clinton.
All right. Wayne Simmons, one of the best when it comes to intel and giving us some insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.